Summer is here, and that means one thing: Summer Game Fest. With E3 folding, it's the only show in town, and I'm expecting some huge reveals this year. My name is Kodiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and here are 10 games I think we'll learn more about this year at Summer Game Fest. For those that don't know, Summer Game Fest is broken down into multiple days of activities, with the main show happening on June 7th and subsequent shows happening in the days following. The Xbox Game Showcase as well as the PC Gaming Show are both slated for June 9th, and Ubisoft Forward will bring up the rear on June 10th. I'll dive into those showcases in a separate video. Today, however, I want to focus on the main show because there is a huge lineup of developers attending this year's festival, and I think they're going to be bringing their A game, so let's dive in. Without a doubt, Summer Game Fest will feature the upcoming DLC to Elden Ring: Shadow of the Erdtree. Being released just 2 weeks after the festival, it makes complete sense that the massively popular game from 2022 would have another major showing on the main stage at Summer Game Fest. By the end of February this year, Elden Ring had sold over 23 million copies of the game worldwide, so if it's not clear, this game is wickedly popular. Shadow of the Erdtree builds on the existing lore of Elden Ring, this time taking players to the Land of Shadow, following in the footsteps of Miquella, the brother of Malenia, the goddess of Rot. In various interviews with news outlets, Hidetaka Miyazaki, Elden Ring's director, said that the game world would be about the size of Limgrave, will introduce 8 new weapon categories, and will feature over 10 new bosses, with some of those bosses being compared in difficulty to Malenia from the base game. Shadow of the Erdtree is the only planned DLC for Elden Ring, and with no clear plans for what happens once this final chapter of the game is released, it goes without saying that the future of FromSoft is very much a mystery. First revealed back in 2022, The Lost Wild is a single-player survival horror game with dinosaurs. It has been radio silent from the team at Great Ape Games since the initial trailer, but we know that Annapurna Interactive will have a presence at Summer Game Fest this year, and my guess is they're going to want to make a big statement. This is the perfect type of game to unleash in a big showcase type setting because it's raw, graphic, and altogether shocking. In The Lost Wild, you play as Saskia, an experienced investigative reporter that finds themselves stranded and alone in the aftermath of a mysterious temporal event. The core gameplay is about stealth, distraction, and survival, so if you expect to hunt and tame dinosaurs, you might want to just go play Ark. I actually applaud this approach because I think it will make for a more visceral game experience, almost Jurassic Park-like. One single human can't possibly hope to defeat a T-Rex, but they can certainly distract and disorient it. This is definitely an outside shot, but my hope is we see this game resurface after 2 years of practically nothing. Coming sometime in 2025, it would make a lot of sense for Monster Hunter Wilds to make an appearance at Summer Game Fest. Not only has the team showcased upcoming games at the Game Awards, Jeff Keighley's other event, but with so little out there about the game, I have a feeling the developers will want to start getting people excited about the next mainline installment in the franchise. I should also point out that Monster Hunter Stories releases just a few days after Summer Game Fest wraps up. This is a remastered version of the first Monster Hunter RPG, and while it is a much smaller release, I think Capcom would be silly not to strike twice with 2 Monster Hunter trailers while they have the main stage. Devolver has had a tough 2024, with its CEO stepping down in February and a wave of layoffs hitting the company around that same time. That being said, there's no doubt they'll still have a presence at this year's Summer Game Fest, and as I was refamiliarizing myself with the company's upcoming games, I remembered the Plucky Squire. First revealed back in 2023, the game oozes charm while also clearly pushing the boundaries of what to expect from an indie game. The game follows the adventures of Jot and his friends, storybook characters who discover a 3-dimensional world outside the pages of their book. Clearly inspired by games like Paper Mario, the Plucky Squire looks to feature a wide array of quirky gameplay mechanics like puzzles, combat, jetpacks, and mini challenges, all posed at stopping you from becoming the hero of both the 2D and 3D world. When I look at this game, I just think about pure childish fun, and throughout the years, I've always tried to play 1 or 2 of those games a year. I think of games like Born of Bread, which was similar in a way, as well as It Takes Two. 2 games I immensely enjoyed playing over the last 2 years that fall well outside the day-in, day-out scrutiny of the gaming community. I think the Plucky Squire has the capacity to be one such game, and I hope it gets a big showing at Summer Game Fest. Next up, we have a heavy hitter, Black Myth Wukong. There is no doubt in my mind that this game will be at Summer Game Fest, and I expect it to show up in a huge way, most likely with a massive trailer as well as some hands-on experience for attendees, or at the very least, the media. Releasing August 20th later in the summer, the Chinese developer Game Science needs to keep this game top of mind with an American audience, because that's really how word is going to spread about the title. For those that don't know, Black Myth Wukong is a Souls-like based on the Chinese novel Journey to the West. Players will take up the mantle of Sun Wukong as they fight massive monsters and fantastical beasts. Apart from that, we don't really know much about the game. We've seen a lot of flashy alpha gameplay with no UI, but the game itself hasn't really solidified itself as a must-buy. Summer Game Fest is the platform Black Myth Wukong really needs to make its mark, and about 2 months ahead of its supposed release, the team needs to strike now and make a statement. The next game has been on my radar for quite a while. Hyper Light Breaker is being developed by Heart Machine, the creators of Hyper Light Drifter. That was a well-received 2D game. Much like Hapu Games and Risk of Rain 2, the team is stepping now into 3D space for a new adventure. Hyper Light Breaker is an extraction roguelite, which is an interesting concept. You'll enter a vast open world, and your ultimate goal is to defeat the Abyss King. To do that, however, you'll need to clear out a variety of bosses that are only accessible after you do a series of tasks. At any point in time, you can extract, saving your upgrades and resources, and using them in the future to make yourself stronger for that next run. The concept is one I'm familiar with, being a huge fan of roguelikes, but it's the open world aspect of the game that I'm really excited to experience for myself. There's definitely an element of farming that you'll have to embrace with this game, but based on early reports, the team has absolutely nailed the gameplay. Hyper Light Breaker was supposed to be released back in 2023, so I have no doubt the team is close to launch, which means they need to get the hype train rolling. When Starry Studio burst onto the scene with Once Human, it captured attention of a lot of players across the world. Discord servers were over capacity and everyone wanted a beta key, and that's because the game's ambition is really interesting. It's a massive multiplayer open world survival game set in a post-apocalyptic future. There's base building, weapon crafting, massive monster fights, dungeons. I mean, the game is trying to do a lot, and it's also steeped in this weirdness that can't quite be explained. While the game itself had a lot of hype, it's been a minute since it was really in the limelight, and with a projected Q3 2024 release date, Summer Game Fest seems like the perfect time to start that marketing engine. The team has been running betas for months now, and if they are planning on flipping that switch and preparing for launch, they need a big platform to do it. 2 years ago, a game called Arc Raiders was revealed. At the time, I remember sitting on stream with Livid nerding out about the game, which looked ambitious, immersive, and unique. Fast forward to the end of 2023, and Arc Raiders has definitely changed. Now a free-to-play PvEvP extraction shooter, players will take up arms against the Ark, a mysterious invasion of deadly machines. As a scavenger, your job is to head to the surface and salvage whatever valuable resources you can before the robots or other players kill you. I'll be honest, I'm interested in the pivot, but I don't know if it'll scratch the itch the way the reveal trailer did. We have seen a good number of extraction shooters come and go. Just like Battle Royales, only a special few actually stick around long enough to be memorable. If Arc Raiders is going to show up at Summer Game Fest, expect it to do so in a huge way because the game needs to start building a community as soon as possible if it hopes to have a chance at long-term success in a crowded third-person shooter landscape. Maybe you remember, maybe you don't, but towards the end of 2023, SEGA announced they were reviving a ton of their IP, including Virtua Fighter, Jet Set Radio, and Crazy Taxi, just to name a few. Well, half a year later, and I think the developers are going to keep their foot on the gas. According to some reports, Sega's parent company has been calling this a super project to revive not just those games I mentioned before, but others such as Panzer Dragoon, Streets of Rage, and Golden Axe. Look, there's nothing wrong with taking a hard look at your catalog and putting resources into some games that you know will sell well in 2024. But this is a massive project that's most likely going to roll out over some time. You're not going to see all of those remasters at once, or possibly even in the same year, but over time, seeing games like Jet Set Radio come back into the mainstream will be amazing. Last but certainly not least is Dragon Age Dreadwolf. Seriously, where is this game and what the heck is going on at EA that we haven't seen anything about it up until this point? Now here's the good news. BioWare is reportedly happy with the state of the game and still comfortable with a 2024 release. So, if the game is going to get back on people's radar, you need a massive platform to do it. What better place than Summer Game Fest? And since we already know EA will have a presence at the showcase, it makes sense that Dreadwolf could have a primetime showing. In fact, on the official Steam page for the game, way down at the bottom, you can see it says, Full Reveal Summer 2024. Well, June is the start of summer, and yeah, all the pieces line up. It has been a decade since Dragon Age Inquisition, and with virtually nothing known about Dreadwolf, it's time for BioWare to step out of the shadows and revitalize that franchise. Of course, we don't really know what games are going to show up at Summer Game Fest. We can only speculate, but this list is our best guess. 2024 has been relatively quiet, with unsuspecting games taking the spotlight. My guess is that big developers have been heads down after a banner 2023, and we're going to start seeing some of the fruits of that labor this summer. We'll be covering all the big news from Summer Game Fest, so if you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the world of gaming, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, and consider subscribing. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.